Hi guys, this is Mrs. Trosvik down in House 6B. We are working on Unit 5, Lesson 4 today. Our goal is to find factors using our divisibility rules. Divisibility just means a number that can be divided evenly without a remainder. A good example would be 12 divided by 6. Is it divisible? If I can divide 12 by 6, well, I can make two groups of 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yes, I can divide it into groups of 6 equally. So my answer would be 2. So if it is divisible, then this is a yes. Is there any leftovers? No, there are no remainders. Example number 2. Is 7 divisible by 3? Can I split 7 into 3? Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, I can only make 2 equal rows of 3, but I have 1 left over. So this is not divisible equally because I have 2 full groups and I do have a remainder of 1. So yes, there is a remainder. So therefore we would call this equation not divisible. Okay, so the next section is our divisibility rules. Some of you have been taught these, some of you have not. There are others, but we're going to focus on these for a simple reason. We are going to look at 2's. Anytime a number is divisible by 2, it has to end with a 0 or an even number. Our even numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, and 10. And as you can see, 10 has a 0 in the ones place. So any number that has 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8 in the ones place is divisible by 2. 3, any number that if we add the digits of the number together, it is divisible by 3. That means we can divide it equally by 3. It is divisible by 3. So say we have the number, add 3 plus 0, I would get 3. And I know that 3 is a multiple of 3, so therefore 3 is also divisible by 3. So 30 is a multiple of 3 and can be divided equally by 3. Say I have 31. 3 plus 1 would equal 4. 4 is not a multiple of 3, and I cannot divide 4 equally by 3. So therefore, 31 would also not be divisible by 3. This one would not work. Number 5, if I have a number that is divisible by 5, this one's one of the easiest ones, but it's one that I find most kids make mistakes with or don't know this. And if a number is divisible by 5, there has to be either a 5 or a 0 in the ones place. If you look at a multiplication chart, you will see on a multiplication chart that all numbers that are divisible by 5 end with a 0 or a 5. So if we were to look at a multiplication chart, you're going to start to see that pattern. There's a 5, a 0, a 5, a 0, a 5, a 0, a 5, a 0, and so on and so forth to infinity and beyond. As long as there's a 0 or a 5 in the ones place, then we know we can divide by 5. Similar to 5, we have 10. The hint is there's a 0 in 10. So any number that ends with a 0 or has a 0 in the ones place is divisible by 10. Same thing you can see on a multiplication chart. You see 10 has a 0, 20 has a 0, 30 has a 0, 40 has a 0, 50 has a 0, etc. We can add as many numbers in front of these numbers and it will still be divisible by 10 because there's a 0 in the ones place. All right, let's practice it. Let's go down below. We're just simply figuring out, are these divisible by which numbers? And we're going to try each of them out. So 2, we're going to start with 24. If there's an even number, 2, 4, 6, 8, or 0 in the ones place, then we know it is divisible by 2. I have a 4 in the ones place, so I know that we can divide by 2. That's one of our numbers we can divide out. Our next one we're going to check is 3. That means we have to take the sum of the digits. 2 plus 4 equals 6. 6 is 2 plus 4 equals 6, and 6 is divisible by 3. And if you don't know, you can simply just use the 3 line of your multiplication chart. 6 is on that line, so therefore 24 is also divisible by 3, because 2 plus 4 equals 6, and 6 is divisible by 3 as well. So yes, this is divisible by 3. Let's check 5. 5 or a 0 has to be in the ones place. There is no 5 or a 0 in the ones place, so 5 is not possible. Excuse me. And lastly, 10. If there's a 0 in the ones place, it is divisible by 10. 24 does not have a 0 in the ones place, so it is not divisible by 10. The only numbers 24 is divisible by is 2 and 3. All right, let's jump to number 2. I have 309. If I look at the ones place, there is a 9 there. That is not an even number. It is not 0, 2, 4, 6, or 8, so this is not divisible by 2. How about 3? If I were to take 3 plus 0 plus 9, I would get 9, 10, 11, 12, plus 0 is 12. 12, I know, is a multiple of 3, so therefore 309 is also divisible by 3. Saves us a lot of steps pulling out a calculator to figure it out. All you have to do is add those digits together. If that number's answer is a multiple of 3 and also divisible by 3, then it works. That means 309 also has to be divisible by 3. Next one we have is 5s. If there is a 5 in the ones place or a 0 in the ones place, it is divisible by 5. This does not have either, so it is not divisible by 5 either. And 10, there is no 0 in the ones place, so this is not divisible by 10. So the only answer for number 2 would be that it is divisible by 3. Number 3, we have 100. We're going to start in the ones place. There is a 0 in the ones place. It is divisible by 2 because there is a 0 in the ones place. It is an even number, so it is divisible by 2. That's also a hint to a couple others. Let's stay with that ones place. Is there a 0 in the ones place? There is. That means it's also divisible by 5 and by 10 as well. So I'm going to put 5 and 10 as well. Now the only one we'll need to check is 3. In order to do that, I'm going to take my digits 1, 0, and 0 and add them up. I get a total of 1. 1 is not divisible by 3 equally, because I can't split 1 3 times equally without getting a decimal. So therefore, these are my only numbers I can divide out of equally from 100. Next one, number 4, we have 1,500. We're going to look at the ones place. There's a 0 in the ones place, so therefore that is divisible by 2. It is even. Since we have a 0 in the ones place, we also can use the cheat. There's a 0, so therefore it's also divided by 5 and 10. And the last one we need to check is 3. So let's check it out by adding up our digits. We have 1 plus 5 plus 0 plus 0. 1 and 5 is 6 plus 0 is 6. 6 is divisible by 3. It is a multiple of 3. It is on the 3 lines. So if 6 is my total, then that means that 1,500 also is divisible by 3. So it is divisible by all 4 numbers, 2, 3, 5, and 10. All right, I want you to pause the video and try 48 and then come back and check your answer. All right, we're going to look at the ones place. 8 is an even number, so therefore it is divisible by 2. 8 is not a 0 or a 5, so it is not divisible by 5. There is no 0 there, so it is not divisible by 10. So the only other one we have left to fix or check is if it is divisible by 3. So 4 plus 8 equals 12. 12 is a multiple of 3 and can be divided by 3 equally, so therefore 48 is also divisible by 3. If you got that right, awesome job. All right, what patterns did you notice within your answers over here? What did you start to notice in these answers? Any patterns that you started to notice? Write it here. Your job is to go on to the second part, the student side, figure out what numbers these are divisible by, and then go on and do your edge elastic. Have a good day, guys. Take care.